Tonight we will examine concepts that may challenge your perception of the world around you. Strange creatures, chilling tales, and the occasional conspiracy. Here on our show, we will attempt to provide you with paranormal insight. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is part 2 of our session with Tommy Cullum from Let's Get Freaky. Previously, we had discussed a myriad of things, mostly his experiences in the past. We also briefly talked about what got him started. Well, in this portion, he goes a little bit deeper into how he got started podcasting, what his direction was, and so forth. And we have another excellent back and forth. So, without further ado, part 2 with Tommy Cullum.
I would love to see, like, I know it's a crazy dream, but I'd love to see a Bigfoot dog man. I'd love to see something like that.
Me too.
That's the dream.
Yeah, that is the dream. I want to see the dog man transform.
Yeah,
that's the one for me. Do it again. Does it hurt when that happens? Just silly questions that would pop up. I imagine.
Yeah, only because that's the law that's there. I mean, there could be, there could be Bigfoot there. Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of people in the UK that have had experiences.
Okay,
so I think we've got stuff here like that as well.
Is there a color difference between, because there's a color variation from the west coast to the east coast of America, and it goes from red, where I'm at in California, like a darker orangutan color, to pure black in the swamps of Florida.
Yeah, so, it's interesting. I know in Scotland they've got one that they believe is grey. They call it the grey man or something like that, and that could be a possible Sasquatch.
Okay.
That people say, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Let's go back to your forest and your experience with forests. Your proximity to forests.
So is it a forest?
Yeah. Now, I know this is going to sound a little silly, especially since I'm mostly, and not necessarily, but for the most part, I'm talking about Ireland. The vast difference. There's a big piece of ocean between Ireland and England and the UK. And but both lands have a pretty staunch history, folklore with fairies and such. And the fae folk and all those creatures that reside under that, supernatural phylum. Have you ever had any experiences or heard any stories regarding that?
I mean, the fairy lore is pretty big in the UK. I mean, you go to most forests and, you can always find little fairy doors that people that own the forest put there and stuff. So we've got a big fairy lore.
Really?
I mean, I would love to see something like that.
I saw. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was going to say, I saw a film recently done in the UK about the Red Hoods, and I had never heard of the Red Hoods before. But apparently they're, I don't know, dwarfish in their stature, but they got pointy elf-like ears, almost like Santa Claus elves.
Interesting.
But their thing is they all have red caps. And I don't know if you've heard those stories or not, but
I need to look into that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
It was.
I mean, I've spoken to people. I've had people on the show that
Cullum was in it.
Okay.
And who's that girl? Oh man, she was in. I don't know if you saw that Marvel movie, the second Ant-Man movie. with the
yeah.
ghost, the girl who played the ghost.
I watched that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
The,
I don't know her name.
the
I
lady,
know you
yeah.
mean.
Yeah, the girl.
Yeah.
She's a young woman. The woman who
Yeah.
played the ghost character, that
Yeah.
she's the lead in that.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Is
Yeah.
that based on a true story?
Apparently it's based on the local legends of a given town somewhere. I think they changed names and
Interesting.
whatever to protect the town. But
I'll have to
yeah,
look
I
into
mean,
that.
you mentioned fairy doors, and it made me think, oh, that reminds me of that movie. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty interesting. That
Interesting.
so okay. I was just curious to know if you had any personal fairy experiences or anything like that, or if you
No,
had some
not that
friends who did.
I mean, I've spoken to people who have seen fairies and gnome-like creatures, goblins and things like that. I mean,
Okay,
I've never experienced that myself. I'd like to. I'd love to see something like that. I mean, it fascinates me, the folklore, and you know.
yeah,
But I can tell you something weird that happened, and I've not spoken about this. Just this
okay,
happened
an
last. Well,
exclusive.
this actually happened last time I spoke to JJ Rose and had her on
Okay,
the. And I didn't even tell her this because it literally happened just before the interview, and I didn't know if I was just going mad, and I still might. It still might not be anything, but I'll share it with you now.
please.
And I don't know what it was, but okay. So I finish work, and I literally work 2 seconds from my house, pretty much. It's
Okay,
less than a minute walk home.
excellent.
And I'm walking home, and it's dark. Obviously, it's late at night. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I saw a lady walking along. And I've not even took any note. You don't normally see people at that time anyway. Like, it's very
Yeah.
rare that I see anyone. But I saw a lady walking along, and she walked to the bus stop, and you couldn't see her. She went behind the bus stop, and I just looked away. When I looked back, a fox came out of the bus stop and ran off. And then I walked around expecting to see the lady there, and there was no lady there, and there was no lady to be seen. And I was like,
Oh, shapeshifter.
have I just seen a shapeshifter? And there might have been a trick or something, but I don't
Well,
know,
where'd the
man.
lady go? She didn't
I
walk into
don't
the forest.
know. And I still, I didn't want to say it to JJ at the time because it literally just happened. And I was like, I don't
Oh,
know. It was
that's
so strange.
that's
And,
intriguing.
and the more I thought about it after recording with JJ, I was like, was that something? I don't know. But it was very, and I don't know where the lady went. It's very weird. I've seen the fox a few times since as coming out of work, but I've not seen the lady. But it was just very weird, and I can't
Just wait for the
think
fox to go behind the bus stop. If the lady pops out, you know you
come
got
back.
something.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, that's what it was. It was very strange.
Well, that's interesting though. I mean, how often does this fox come out into the town?
But
I
I've
mean,
seen it. I've only noticed it. This is a very recent thing. This fox. I've seen the fox since. Literally, as I come out of work at night, it's dead. There's no cars around.
yeah,
It's very quiet in this area at that time of night. And to see a lady walking along was quite strange because you
mm,
don't normally see people.
yeah,
But and she's walked to the bus stop, and then for a second you can't see her because it's behind the bus stop.
right.
And a fox came out, and I was like, "That's weird." But
That
then
is
and then I've
weird.
looked to the bus, and there's nowhere she can go. That's why it's strange because there's
Um,
no like little alley she can cut. I don't know. It's still I don't know
well,
what that was.
you
Just
if
thought I'd share that with you.
yeah, no, that's very intriguing. That's amazing. That's yeah, shape shifting. That's pretty cool.
Mm,
I mean, if there's a dog man and it goes from a man to a dog and back, why couldn't it be a
yeah,
woman
yeah,
fox?
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. But when
Uh,
you said your experience on when we spoke last, and you said about the cat and the
oh
eyes
yeah.
changed, it sort of reminds me of
It,
that. Little can people change into? I don't know. I
apparently
mean,
so. Like I said, some of the witch lore, if you have a familiar, they have the ability to change into a person and back. Usually from a
yeah,
cat or a dog or some other familiar form that witches tend to like. And realistically, from what I understand, it could be any animal that the witch
interesting.
who has this familiar and servitude than can wants, and any type of human too. But once you make the decision, you're stuck.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, that's lore. I don't have any proof of this. I've never actually seen it myself, with the exception of this doppelganger, to give it a name, doppelganger of my cat with the weird human eyes.
Yeah, that was strange, man.
That was not cool, man.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And like you with the photo, I got that vibe. It's like, yeah, I better treat this with kid gloves.
Yeah.
Play dumb. It's like, bye, kitty, get out of here. And that was it.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for those weird human eyes, that was a spitting image of my other cat, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Just
that's strange, man.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was bizarre. But there was you had a recent UFO flap, if I'm not mistaken, in the UK. Is that correct?
What, a lot of people seeing UFOs?
I thought there was something in you know what? I might be talking about Scotland. I thought it was like way northern part of the country, and that's Scotland.
Okay.
And I think they're seeing those triangle ones with the 3 lights underneath, and they see fleets of them, apparently.
Really?
Like fleets.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, flying along and the whole thing. So
interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I think maybe that was Scotland. I was just wondering if you've heard anything about it on your end.
No, I'll check that out as well. Interesting, man.
And there was there's something else up there. Was it maybe in Loch Ness? Also, there was another thing in Loch Ness where someone had a drone, and there's this, maybe you saw this video, but there's a series of campers, or they're setting up camp on the edge, and this one guy gets a chance to fly his drone high up and get an aerial, and lo and behold, sitting like maybe 20-30 feet offshore is the head with a long neck, big plesiosaur shape, basically, of apparently the Loch Ness monster. I mean, it's a little faded in spots, but there's a couple really clear instances in that video where I find it hard to deny that it's not a plesiosaur. Long neck, funny little dolphin flippers for feet, and this brontosaurus-like body with the neck and everything. Weird. I mean, it was just an incredible grab. And I don't know if you heard about that at all, but
I'll have to check that out as well. But the Loch Ness monster is so fascinating, and what I find fascinating is, like Bigfoot and Dogman, it's all around the world. It's not just in one place, and there seems to be lots of these creatures.
We have one or two. I know we have one in Lake Champlain.
Yeah, and that's a great picture.
Yeah, it's a good picture. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Champ is what they call him. And I think we have another one in, where is that? I want to say not Yellowstone. So Great Lakes, and there's another lake system. Well, they've seen that there's another lake system, I think, further west. They've seen something bizarre.
So interesting,
just like that. And stuff. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And
I find it fascinating, because so many people see these things, and
well, I'm folks poo-poo having our devices with us everywhere we go, and it's like, it's an invasion of privacy. Why are we recording everything we do? But I gotta say, thank God, because we have been able to capture some pretty intriguing stuff. Oh, there was one, and it was on Instagram. Maybe you saw this too. Guy flying a twin Cessna or a plane. He's got his own private plane, and he's got a forward-facing camera out there, and he's saying, "Ah, look at that cool cloud formation." And out of it flies this UFO, and bam, right over his head. No shockwave, and because something that close, and it was pretty big. I call it about the size of maybe a fighter jet, and it was not shaped like one though. It had the rudimentary shape of almost diamond shape, but it looked like it was trying to grow wings almost. And it just bam right past him. What was he dropped the phone practically trying to and he was just looking at clouds. That was the weird part. So
that's a cool
could be CG because it was a clean shot. It was a beautiful clean shot that he got. The stills from that are amazing. It could be fake, but my gut instinct, my eye says, no, that was something there.
Interesting, because it's so hard to tell now because
there's so much. There's a few giveaways here and there, but it's getting harder and harder and harder to tell. I mean, they're getting that close to photorealism. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see also on Instagram? I think it was Bigfoot Lover. Is the handle. I'll give them a shout out. Good job, Bigfoot Lover. I don't know if it was their photo or if they grabbed it from somewhere, but it was it was a shot like if this is the frame, it was a shot of a Bigfoot right next to a trail cam.
Wow.
And it was the nose. You could see the eyes and the fur going up into it looked just like the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot. And you can see the fur track up here, but left a mask for the eyes to be clear. And the head goes up. It's a little pointy, like you see all the time or hear about. And it was right there. And if it was a true grab, it's one of the best grabs ever. It was amazing.
Yeah. Because they whatever they can do, they seem to be smart enough to pick up on these trail cams and things like that because they're so hard to catch, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Did you see there's one in the forests of Michigan. Did you see that one?
I don't think so. Well, I probably have.
You probably have.
You'll have to remind me of it.
It's a couple of years old. I think it was, well, at least it came out during the pandemic. So this he's hunting. He's got trail cams up because he's out in the forest, man. He doesn't have a choice. So he sticks up trail cams, and lo and behold, it's motion activated. So he sees a couple of deer, and then he sees something building. Have you seen the Bigfoot domes? Those made out of pine tree branches and stuff. Well, there's a creature building that. He's right behind a tree. It's hard to make out, but he walks back, and you can see this huge, hulking, upright, bipedal thing. It's covered in like thick brown fur, and he's as he's setting things up, he notices the trail cam and he goes still, and I was just amazed at how still he was. And then he starts doing something like an owl might do, waggles the head back and forth, trying to see if this thing's gonna follow him.
Yeah.
Interesting,
man. I don't think I've seen that.
And then have you?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay.
I want to see it. If you can send that to me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll try and dig it up. It's in the archive somewhere. But
interesting.
But there's a series of clips where this Bigfoot just kind of gives up at one point. Say, yeah, you got me on camera, big deal. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know if that's his thought processes or anything. But he goes into his house. You see him do this again inside his house because he doesn't like the trail cam looking at him. Because I guess he singled out the eye, the open eye for the trail cam, so it probably looks like an eye. And it's like, why is that tree looking at me? And then in the next series of shots, the trail cam is beaten really hard too, bap, and then snap free and drops to the ground.
Wow. Interesting, man.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. It was an interesting grab. If it was faked, good job.
They
It was
done well.
really
Yeah.
good. You know, big applause from Tim.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. It was pretty convincing.
That's awesome. Bigfoot, I find it so fascinating. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really, I think Bigfoot is probably what got me into the podcast because I
Mm.
was looking for Bigfoot stuff and I was listening to Bigfoot shows, and that's really what got me into listening to podcasts. Really was Bigfoot.
Mm.
So I can thank Bigfoot for doing podcasts.
That's awesome. All right, well let's talk about that. That's part of the why I have you on here too. So you started listening to podcasts, and then you started
Yeah,
doing your own. When you first started, it sounds like you were what I would loosely term as a believer, because that's not necessarily the case with you. You know, you've seen shit. Pardon my French.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but you've seen shit, and you know, you've had validation from others standing right next to you. That's very
yeah, yeah,
hard to, you know, and I bet you if I separated you and asked you questions individually, you'd probably give me the exact same story. I have that sense.
yeah,
The So when you go into podcasting, you're again, lack of a better term, a believer.
yeah, for sure.
Certainly an experiencer. And you jump on, and where are you looking to talk to other Bigfoot people, or are you, or what was your first goal? What was your first?
I just want to learn more about the subject and learn more of what other people think as well. So look, people's opinions interest me. Um, what people like, some people, everyone's got their own opinions on everything with the paranormal, and I quite find that I find that interesting to know. I like to know what you believe as well. Like, I know what I believe, but I find it interesting to know what others believe, and I think you learn a lot, especially from podcasts. There's something about podcasts that I think is a great way to, obviously, for conversations.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, so that's what it was, really, to learn more, to meet more people that have had experiences. Um, yeah,
Gotcha. So from then to now, has your opinion of the paranormal changed, or are you still? Okay, let me rephrase that question. From here to now, has your opinion of the paranormal decreased? It's like, oh, I've heard that story before, or are you still at the same level, or has it increased?
I would say it's increased. I
Okay.
mean, so I'm talking to people all the time about paranormal, but every story, it fascinates me,
Yeah.
and I've heard people tell me about seeing shadow people,
Mhm.
hundreds of times now, but I still find it amazing every time someone tells me their experience, even small experiences. I find it all amazing. So I think it's increased. I mean, obviously, I've always been into the paranormal. I've always watched TV programs. I've always listened to podcasts and read books.
Right.
I feel like, you know, you think now I'd be like, okay, let's have a break from it. Let's have a few days of not anything. I don't. It's literally every day. It's a bit worrying, to be honest. It's sort of taken over my life. Like, I find it amazing, and I don't know where it stops because
Yeah.
there's so much. You open one door and you've got another million
That's
questions.
yeah, that's the thing about doing this work. I mean, I started out in my first foray into doing anything remotely close to this was as a PI. I did private investigation. And I was very young when I did that. That was before my Air Force experience. And I got out. I was, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say that a lot tonight. Apparently, for lack of a better term, I was scared out of doing PI work. Um, and I'll tell you that story next time I'm on your show. Suffice it to say, it was a surveillance that went super awry. I mean, it was a bonkers situation. And every PI from my generation and back has a similar story that they can go, yep, that's exactly like my story, except this happened, and or that happened. But it's everyone has that weird surveillance, and that weird surveillance was the one that said, nope, I'm done. Done with this. And I love the work, don't get me wrong, it was great work. But that was I still learned how to be a detective, a proper detective, and went to college courses with actual police detectives who were taking their continuing education credentials. So I got to learn a lot. It was fantastic. I love that stuff. I was this close to being a cop myself, but didn't pan out. But it was that training, that ability to ask questions in a series to get to the bottom of a situation that made me the investigator of the group, of the PI group, of the scary group. And the one thing I was Mulder. I wanted to believe, you know. And then there was my buddy Henry, who was a strict scientist, computer guy, scientific background, total skeptic. I mean, no matter what. And he had some amazing things happen to him that are very paranormal indeed. Still a total skeptic. Nope, I need empirical evidence. It's like, okay, you're that's it. Come on, let's go hunt some ghosts. And and it was that type of thing that kind of keeps me going in this. I mean, it's always a hunt for that mystery, to solve that mystery. It's a constant open case.
Yeah.
You can take a lot of things with a grain of salt. I'm just talking too much on your interview. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all, man.
But it's a matter of, like I said, getting to the bottom of this mystery that just doesn't end, because we're left with as many questions, if not more questions. At the end
for sure.
And there's more and more weird stuff creeping forgive the pun, creeping up left and right. A good example, I've seen a lot of videos lately, and they're kind of older, but not older, but they weren't shot today, but they're shot really recently, of those entities swimming in the atmosphere. Have you seen that? And they look like big black squids, basically, except they don't have that dome and there's no eyeballs. They're just these things kind of swimming around.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they call them sky jellies or something like that.
Yeah, man. Very strange.
That's weird.
Interesting.
And there was one guy who captured one and said, yep, the aliens are here. Here they are. We're screwed. That whole thing. But it's not like they're filling our skies. I mean, they show up in like one spot and then nothing, in one spot and then nothing, like their UFO counterparts. But
it's interesting. Are they already here, as you experienced, living among us secretly already?
Yeah, I do believe they are. I mean, I told you about the VIP thing, right?
Yeah.
The ones I saw in Santa Cruz were probably part of that program.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah. It was but so it's just it's an ongoing mystery. And I gotta say, even through this medium and exploring these things, it always brings something new up. It's like, I gotta look this up. I gotta look that.
Yeah.
So that was
there's so much to the paranormal.
I'll quote Eric Salaji. He told me there's no end to the amount of weird in this world.
100%. Yeah. And we love it.
Oh yeah, we love it. I mean, we wouldn't be doing shows every week or more. You do 2 a week, is that right?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm putting 2 a week out. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm thinking about 3, but I don't know.
Good.
It might be. It's tough work. It's hard work.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough putting these together. You got to chop them just so sometimes, and all that fun stuff.
But
There,
you meet the most amazing people. That's
you
what I
really
love about the
do.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you really do. You have some amazing guests on. I've been very fortunate to have some really fun guests on, including yourself.
Oh, thanks,
And
man.
not at all, happily. Oh, yeah, I'll announce it here with you. That's fine. I'm gonna actually, in a couple 3 weeks, I'm gonna go to the local hills where they have a lot of Bigfoot sightings.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna strap on my rig. I got this rig I call the one man band. It's got a camera on the shoulder and on the hat and all that stuff.
Awesome,
And
man.
I'm gonna go marching through the forest and see if I can find some stuff.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. I hope you catch some stuff, man. That's
Me too.
awesome.
Me too.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I gotta see if JJ can join me on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to come out there one day.
Oh,
And
you're more than welcome, dude.
that's a dream. No, thank you very much, man. That's a dream to go out to America and look for the Bigfoot. That's a goal one day.
Yeah, it's pretty. We have there's the Bigfoot Museum next, not pretty close to where I'm going to be hunting. And no, not hunting,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
with eyes. And that guy literally, he has this gigantic map on the wall. He's been featured on the I think it was called Hunting Bigfoot with the BFRO guys.
Yeah.
And they visited his little museum, and he has this huge map on the wall of the entire area. And there's all these little pins stuck in the wall where people have seen the Bigfoot.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk to him, and then I'm gonna go on the hunt.
Awesome, man.
Catch something. And
I hope you get something, man.
Oh, me too. I'm stoked. I'm gonna freak out. There's one.
Now we need another Patterson Gimlin video.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Now let's talk about another phenomenon I've been seeing mostly on Instagram. A couple of YouTube things, but people that are looking for at least Bigfoot or hearing something anomalous, and these things bust out of the thing, and they are not the typical Bigfoot. They kind of look like what some people describe as the rake with the big claws and everything, come charging out of the forest, galloping after them. These dudes run like hell. They are legitimately scared.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
I've seen that video. Yeah, I think I shared that video because that's terrifying.
Oh, that was your share, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I shared that.
That was horrible.
Sometimes I'll see stuff on Instagram and like, I don't know if it's definitely real, but I'm sharing it because it's cool and it's interesting. But would you say that video is possibly legit?
I mean, I have to take a closer look at it and really analyze it. But at first blush, that is definitely something coming after that dude.
Yeah,
just because his reaction alone. And if I turn the sound off, I do that every time I watch a video. I turn off the sound so I'm not distracted. The speed at which the thing moved out of the forest, it leapt over that log. Okay.
Yeah.
And man, that thing was lanky and tall. It cleared that log like a long jumper, or like a sprinter, who what's that? The people who run, they jump over things. What's that called?
Oh man.
They have this series of things that jump over in the Olympics.
Yeah. What is that called?
Those guys.
Oh man. Yeah, I know what you mean.
No names here. The things.
What
the guys.
is that called? Yeah.
It'll come to us in a second.
When we start recording, it'll come. It's always the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he clears that log like a jumper, right?
Yeah. It's an incredible video.
And he goes charging after the dude, and the dude, the way he reacts was the step and turn. and he didn't care if he caught that thing on tape.
Yeah.
So it was like the one step back and then the turn, and that's where the video cuts off. But yeah, I would hope he'd get some distance, feel a little bit safe, and turn around. But I guess that didn't happen. But the way the thing moved, it moved pretty naturally from what I could tell. The gait was right, the speed. I mean, it had, I think the leaves cleared out of the way when he stepped on them. Not cleared out of, I'm sorry. When you step in ivy, for example, there's rustling. And when you pull out, I think a couple of leaves went flying. So if that was fake, someone did a very good job, or it was a dude in a costume, maybe. But the way that thing was shaped, it was
just it's a weird shape. It was super quick.
Yeah.
If that is just a man that's far, I mean, I don't know, but it's very it's a very interesting video.
There's a wisp of people out there. I've seen them for myself, but no, not with the caliber this thing was moving. And it appeared to be strangely muscular.
Yes.
For its slight build, it was surprisingly muscular. Especially when it goes over the log. I think I can make out the leg muscles and everything. But
it looked powerful.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, if it was a man, he's a powerful man.
Very very slim, very tight. I mean, dude, that was just obscenely rail thin individual right there. It was but it just didn't look human, you know. And the fact that it kind of came out hunched, it was like this, even on its run, like the head was forward.
And the arms were really long as well, weren't they?
Yeah, they were long, and he kept in with the runner, whatever this creature was, kept the arms out. Did you realize that he kept them out? He did a little bit of balance when he went over the log, but he kept them out. I'd never seen a person run like that before.
No, man, no. That wasn't a natural run that we would, recognize.
I've only seen something similar to that when back in the old days where it was shield and sword, and reenactors do that all the time just because that's how the human body moves. But he had nothing in his hands. He just had his hands out like this.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Terrifying. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Something similar. Oh, do you remember that rake? It was an actual rake video. They just, I think it was one of the first ones that it's in Oregon, I think, north of here. And they're in the backyard and I hear something rustling around back there. And they open the door and the guy, the thing comes crawling after him. It's an old, it's an older video, but it was shot on his old janky cell phone or whatever. And that one I just missed because in the slowdown, you could see. Granted, even the skinnier, more in shape people have skin that gathers when they crawl. But this was definitely a costume because you could see the material gather at the hips. And there was another guy, your neck of the woods. He was investigating, and this might be in one of the creepypasta things, but he was investigating this abandoned house, and there was an upstairs attic to it. And the guy, I'm super afraid, I'm super scared. And it's obviously people in masks, man. And there's one dude, and it looks like the mask doesn't quite fit him right because it's supposed to be this skeletal outline. And have you seen this?
I don't know if it's
but he pops out of the attic, and he comes up like this, like he's Dracula or something, but he hangs there. He's standing on the ladder, apparently. And he hangs there for a second, he's poised, and the camera guy drops his flashlight and his camera. Oh, I dropped my flashlight. He gets it back up again, and the guy's gone. I was like, And what solidified it for me, I mean, I was already suspicious because the mask was off kilter and everything. But what solidified it for me is where he goes back downstairs and he's still exploring this place. And another one of these creatures, and they got claws. They kind of look like a black version of a rake. But it was someone in a body stock, and it was obvious, the mask and everything. And the funny thing about the second person, very shapely woman. She was in excellent shape. And it was very hard to miss her feminine attributes.
Yeah.
It was not to be a chauvinist, but it was pretty obvious to me. It's like, that's a woman. That's a female right there. And you can almost make out a zipper or something right here in the casting of the light. And then he drops the flashlight again. Whoops. Picks it up and the creature's gone. But
yeah, man.
He tried real hard to make it look.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is he actually got it on what's the show out here? Paranormal Caught on Tape.
Oh, really? It made it to that?
Caught on camera. That's what it is. Paranormal Caught on. He actually got it on there. It's like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I watched that show. I love that show. I find it fascinating.
I'm pretty sure he was on that.
Most of the stuff they put on there seems to be pretty legit, I would say.
I've caught him a couple of times going,
oh, really?
Yeah. Like there was one where it was set, I think, in the Philippines. A lot of their stuff is set in the Philippines. But some dude is playing guitar at night, and he's got someone next to him. They're listening, and I guess there's a kid there too. And there's this little troll-like creature, and I forget the name of the creature in their folklore, in Philippine folklore, pops in the camera. And they don't see him. And then he does this weird hide behind move where he disappears behind the kid. Narrow little kid. This thing would not be able to hide behind a kid. And then he pops out again. And then he's suddenly on the wall next to the guy playing guitar, and there's someone with a cell phone freaking out. The guy's there. But the thing is, you can actually see some of the pixelation, and the movement was a little unnatural and all that fun stuff. So and there was another one, I think, in Manila, where you saw the half a person, like the lower half of a person, run down the street. Nobody screams. Nobody reacts. Oh yeah, it's half a guy running down the street. Look at that. That was obviously a camera trick. Because if you looked at the shadow, you could see the whole person.
There's a lot of stuff on there that
sometimes they get taken for a ride, or maybe they make the decision that's entertaining. Why not? We'll talk about it. But, I think the one that freaked me out the most was in a couple states north of me. In Washington State, there's this, I'm not sure where, I want to say it's at the edge of a major city like Seattle or Portland. And there's this bridge, a train trestle. And for some reason, there's this homeless guy camped on this next to the strut that's supporting the bridge that is in the middle of a river. I don't know how he got there. That's where he lives. And he starts yelling. Some dude's videotaping his girlfriend, and he swings over to the guy yelling. And the guy's going, oh my God, look at that, look at that, look at that. He's pointing up. And the guy originally goes to the sky, and he's, what's he looking at? And then as he brings it back down, you see, and if I had to guess at what type of creature this was close to, I'd say it was a bat or a flying squirrel. But whatever it was the size of a bear. And it was crawling under like this.
Wow.
Under the bridge towards this dude, and that's where the film cuts out. No. No.
And that was legit. Like you would say that was legit.
If that was fake, someone did a very, very good job, because there was zero pixelation. The movement was inhuman, and the size of this thing was bizarre, and the way it was textured, you can make out legs, but it looks like they're underneath giant wings. So the thing was like a bat or something crawling upside down along this trellis.
Wow.
It
I need to see that one as well. I don't think I've seen that. I need to see that.
That one was on Paranormal Color camera.
Interesting. It's an interesting show, man. I love that show.
It is.
There's a lot.
I love it. It's good stuff.
That's what I mean. So after, because obviously we're doing these shows, we're editing the shows, we're talking to guests. You'd think we wouldn't want to watch any paranormal stuff, but that's what I put on straight after. Like after talking to you, I'll probably put that on and watch something freaky like that. You know, it's just constant.
It just comes down to it. Well, it's interesting to see what other people capture. It's interesting to see, one, if it's legit, and two, if you can disprove it, and three, if you can't disprove it, what did you see? I mean, is this another something to file into this category or that category? So that's why I watch them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. It really is. But I have it. We're at the 2-hour mark. I guess I think it's time to end it, unless there's something else you want to add.
Awesome. So I mean, I've got other experiences, but I don't know if you want me to say them for another time, or I can say them now. So when I was 14, this is a weird one. This goes back to, I don't know if we was talking about this tonight or if we spoke about this yesterday, but the vibe you get when you go to certain places, and the knowing that you're in not a good place.
Right.
We had so when I was 14 years old, this was, my nan and granddad had a holiday home that they sold, and it was in the UK. It was a cottage in the UK, and I think that was haunted. That's another story. that was a freaky old cottage as well. They sold that, and that was, where was that? I think that was in Norfolk as well. I can't remember exactly where that was, but they sold that. We used to go there quite a lot on the weekends, and that was a weird place. But I never saw anything in there. But my brother think he did. But that's another story.
Okay.
He woke up one night and saw a dog on top of him. But so they sold that, and they wanted to buy another property in the UK that the family could go to for weekends and stuff like that. And I remember they found this property, and I think it was in Norfolk as well. I think it was in Norfolk as well, yeah. And so they've got the whole family down there for the day to see this house that they were considering buying.
Okay.
And so my aunties, my uncles, we all went down there, and it was a nice house, quite a big house. And I'm guessing now that it was quite a good deal, because it must have been on the market for quite a good deal, because they were buying it as a holiday home.
Gotcha.
And it was quite a big house, quite nice. So anyway, we've all gone down there to see this house, and we've gone in, and literally all of us, as soon as we've gone in, have got a bad vibe. Okay, this house was it was in the countryside, sort of on its own. And we've all said, we've all straight away, all of us are like, this is weird. Like,
something's wrong.
Straight away, the whole family.
Right.
And my nan and granddad were like, no, this is the bedrooms. The boys can sleep in here. And me and my brother were looking at each other like, no, we ain't sleeping in here.
I'm sleeping outside.
Sure. Yeah. I sleep in the garden, man. But yeah, so we're looking around, and this house has got it had old tunnels in it that led to nowhere. Like that, I believe is where they said maids used to work, and the maids would go
in tunnels.
So it was an old house. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was little tunnels in the house, and I remember we walked down one, and it was just a wall at the end of it, and so there must have been something else there at some point.
Okay. So hold on, let me talk to you about the tunnels real quick. So these are service walkways for the servants, or is it more like a priest hole?
I think we was told that it was for the servants.
Okay.
Back in the day when they had servants there, and I mean, this house wasn't a mansion. It was a big house. There was a lot of rooms, but obviously whoever owned it back in the day was quite wealthy, and had maids working for him, I guess.
Okay.
But obviously they weren't there now. I believe it was a young couple that lived there at the time.
Okay.
Because I remember there was a lady that was there, the estate agent was there, and the lady that lived there had a little baby as well. And I always remember when we left after looking at the house, my mum was quite upset about leaving her on her own in the house because I think her husband was away. I think he was a pilot or something. I don't know how I know that, but that was what we was told.
Okay.
So we were all looking around the house, and my nan and granddad were pretty keen on getting it. They wanted the family to like it, so that we was going to go there and spend the weekends there and stuff.
Sure.
So as we've left, we're all saying the same thing. No, there was something not right about the house.
Yeah.
We all got a bad vibe, and I can remember getting a really bad vibe walking around it. And I think it was a week later. So I think my granddad's going to buy the house. And I believe it was a week later, he was at an event, and nobody outside of the family knew about this house.
Okay.
And he was talking to one of his friends, and they're having a chat. And he said, Ron, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I've got a message to give to you. And it doesn't make sense to me, but it might make sense to you. Ramsey danger. And that's all. That's the message. Don't know what it means. Ramsey danger. And my granddad's like, wow, that was the name of the village where the house was. Ramsey. And obviously straight away, my granddad's like, okay,
done. Cool.
I'm not buying the house.
Where did this guy get the message from? Did we ever find out?
I don't know. I wish I could talk to my granddad more. My granddad's passed now. I wish I could talk to him more about and find out more, because I'm really interested in it now. I was interested in it then, but obviously now I'm like, oh. So from what I know and talking to my mum and dad about it, he was at an event, a football event that he used to go to, and I don't know who this guy. I think it was just a friend. It was just a friend. But for what we know, nobody else knew about this. So
and
there's no way.
Just two words: Ramsey danger.
Ramsey danger. Yeah, that's all he said, and that was enough.
Because
that was the name. That was the name of the village where the house was.
Yeah,
and that was enough for my granddad to go, you know what? The family got a bad vibe. He's saying that,
yeah.
Not buying not buying the house.
Yeah.
And that's always stayed with me, because it was very strange.
That's amazing.
A part of me wish they did buy the house so we could
set up a lab. It's like,
get some experiences. Yeah. See what might have happened. I don't know, but
I was on the phone with a real estate agent friend of mine today, and we got to talking. She knows JJ as well, and we got to talking about all the different houses she looks at. And I said, do you have any that don't sell because they're haunted? Yeah, I do. And I have a person that comes by and does a clearing. I said, before you do that, call me and JJ go out there, do an investigation, and then we'll clear it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I digress. And so, wow, that's amazing. So this friend just pops out of nowhere. They went to a football game together, and
it was
Ramsey danger.
So this guy says, as my granddad said, this guy, I don't even know. I don't know who this guy was, to be honest. I think it was just a friend.
Okay.
And he said to my granddad, I've got a message to give to you. I don't know why. I don't know if this guy was psychic, or he must have been. He must have had some abilities.
Or did someone else give him the message?
Possibly. Yeah, very possible.
The way you're describing how he said it, it sounds like he says, someone told me this, and though, it was secondhand, but they said to tell you Ramsey danger.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
So
the only way I can think to try and debunk it, but I don't believe this, but is if my dad or my uncle said to this guy, "Say that to my dad because I don't want him to buy this house."
Okay.
But
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
I really don't think that happened. I don't, because my dad stands by the story that he that happened.
Okay.
So I don't think that happened. But if you was looking for a way to maybe debunk it, you could go there. But I don't think that happened.
Okay.
Because my nan and my granddad stood by that. My granddad
Gotcha.
stood by that,
Gotcha.
and my nan still does now. So
Okay. Now, does your nan understand, know this guy or no? The guy who
she
says
just knows that where this happened. I don't. My nan wasn't there, and I think she just said it's a friend of your granddad.
just okay. So
Yeah.
no real connection or acquaintance with grandma.
No, I
Okay.
mean he must have been. Yeah, they must have known each other because they was at the same event. But I
Gotcha.
don't know. Yeah, I
Okay.
wish I did know that, to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Questions.
but it's interesting. I said because
Yeah.
I say to my nan, like, I wish it'd be interesting to know if we had got the house, what would have happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would have been a living Scooby Doo episode.
yeah, yeah. But it was such a weird vibe. Like when we spoke before. When you go to a place
Yeah.
where the energy's just not
Yeah.
nice.
It's odd. It always happens at the threshold of the the premises, the house or the office building. I've done the office buildings before where right you open the door and as soon as you hit the threshold, bam, it's like you're getting hit with a wall of bad vibes
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
suddenly
Something's
you're on
telling you
edge. Something's
to get
off.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man.
Yeah. So wow, that's your entire family reacted that way. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
And we still talk about that now. Like we
I
still
bet.
say that house was weird. What happened there? Yeah.
Um, so did you said you had more experiences beyond that?
I had another experience in this house that I'm in now. We was all having dinner one night. The kids, my wife, we were all just sitting there, and it wasn't hot, so all the windows, all the doors were shut, and we're all just eating and talking and having fun. All of a sudden, I saw a black cat run past me, and I've jumped out my skin. I've gone, there's a cat in the house, and I was, but it really scared me because I was just shocked to see it. But
Right.
and definitely a cat run past me. I saw it, and we're all like, "What is a cat?" We're looking all around the house, going in every room, checking all the windows.
Yeah.
There wasn't a cat in the house.
Oh
And,
no.
yeah, I mean, I've got a dog now, but I didn't have the dog at the time. It
Right.
was before the dog.
Gotcha.
So that was weird. That
Yeah.
was at the start of the podcast journey as well.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I sort of think, do you invite these things in when you look into the subject?
Possibly. That's possible. It's interesting when during my hunt for a cleaner, as we talked about on your show, um, before JJ came on board, Henry and I, my partner in I sound like I'm 89 years old. And my partner in Scary, we interviewed like 5, 6 psychics trying to lock down the cleaner, and we were having zero luck. But at every single one of these locations, various houses throughout my hometown, I always saw black animals. It was bizarre too. And I don't mean a crow. I don't mean a raven that are black anyway. I saw
Yeah,
black mice. Rarely see black mice. I saw black squirrels for the first time. They weren't in my neck of the
wow,
woods until much later, but black squirrels running around.
yeah,
And was it a rabbit or a hare maybe? Yeah,
interesting.
something like that. And animals in general, like domestic animals like cats and dogs and stuff, seem to always stare right at us. It's like Yeah. What? What are you doing? I was like, what do you know, what's this animal locking onto that I can't see? And it was just a weird experience over that week or two that we were doing these interviews, basically, because we tested them. I was like, you know, what kind of psychic are you? You know, are you going to be able to read my thoughts, or are you going to feel my emotions? Or, you know, I just try to center on, figure out where their power truly lies. But it was always weird black animals running around in the wild, mice, and like I said, mice and hares and fucking bizarre things. Bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, hedgehog. I saw a black hedgehog. Never seen a black hedgehog in my, not a hedgehog,
No.
not a hedgehog, prairie dog. Sorry, prairie dog. Sorry, the ones that come out of the ground. Black.
Yeah.
They don't come
Interesting,
in
man.
black.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mice
man.
do, but I've never seen them out here. If they're a
No.
natural occurrence in the wild, it's the first, usually brown or white.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a bizarre experience. And Henry, being the skeptic, says, "Yeah, I didn't see it." He just wasn't paying attention. He has head burying in his notes, and he just doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. He says, "I'll note that." He made a note in the margins. It's like, okay, Tim saw black. But it was just a bizarre experience. But when we got a hold of JJ, that stopped.
Interesting.
It
Yeah.
was bizarre. It was very bizarre.
It seems like you was all brought together.
Yeah. Talking about a cosmic or I don't know, something.
Meant to be. Meant to
Yeah,
be,
meant to
man.
be. Something
Yeah.
in the universe, God, Yahweh, whatever you want to believe. Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Very powerful. That's a creepy thing, but there's a cat.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it scared the crap out of me. Like I was like, oh, I proper jumped when I saw
Oh
it.
yeah, I bet you did.
And I just thought there was a cat in the house. So we all searched through the house to find this cat, and it wasn't there. There was no windows open.
Wow.
So I saw something though.
Yeah, man. Nothing
Yeah.
nothing would make you jump if you didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking all the things that I've seen, the weird stuff, and that really like I jumped like big time. My wife was like, "You're right." I said, "No, just seen a cat."
and it almost sounds silly to say it out loud now, but
Yeah,
if it walks up, I mean,
yeah,
it's just there. I've been there, man. I've been there.
yeah, yeah,
Phantom things walk up on me too. It's especially in this business.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I know what you're talking about. The biggest thing was the demon monkey. That did I tell you? You know about that story, right? The demon monkey. It was on the
Uh,
show a couple of times. It was on Eric's show too.
I must have. Yeah, I've definitely heard it. Then, yeah,
Yeah. No.
I must have done. Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I
Okay.
listened to you on Eric's show. Yeah, I've
Okay.
heard it. I've definitely heard it.
Well, that was the. Yeah. Everybody heard it, and me and one other person saw it, and I had the camera pointed right at it. Didn't show up. Didn't show up. I was so
That's
angry.
yeah. So you
Scared.
could see it. You could still see it with the camera, but the camera wasn't picking it up.
No. Not the camera. I didn't have the frame open. I had
Yeah.
you could turn it and close it so it wouldn't interfere. Oh no, I checked that. I did have it open, but as it ran past, I just followed it. I had my eyes on it, but the camera was down here. I didn't look at the screen. But
Yeah. Yeah.
on playback, it didn't show up.
Oh man.
It didn't show up.
It's
I
interesting
was
though.
angry.
It's
I was,
interesting though, because it
yeah,
makes you think, can you just because we all spend so much time trying to capture this stuff.
right.
Maybe some things you just can't capture on the camera. You know?
Not in
Maybe there
infrared
is
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
There's the newer full spectrum cameras that go UV and infrared,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know. I've seen some interesting things captured on that, but even then, I've seen other investigators have a similar experience to mine. It's like, oh my God, look at that. And that's
Mm.
on camera.
That's interesting.
It is weird. It's like it's out of phase or something with our reality.
Yeah. Just can't pick up on that frequency, whatever
it's just bizarre.
Interesting though, man.
Very cool stuff. Anything else on the?
So they're all weird things, but this is another strange thing that happened in this house as well, actually. And this wasn't too long ago as well. So my girls now, I try to not, obviously, as much as I love the paranormal and I'm always doing it, I try not to, because it scares them. I try and keep them away from it. I don't let them listen to the podcast, obviously, and stuff like that. Don't try not to talk about it around them. They pick up on things every now and again, but so they're not the best sleepers either, my two daughters. So they're, we go through spells where they're up for the night and they're scared in their room for whatever reason. And me and my wife, we're both quite, because we've had experiences, so we're quite, we're not just stay in bed. There's nothing there, we can understand. So sometimes
they force you to sleep in the same room with a ghost like your mom did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't care what's in there. You're staying in it.
Sorry, go ahead.
But every now and again, we let them come in our room, or they might wake up during the night, and I'll say, look, I'll come and lay on your floor, and you sleep. I won't leave, and then obviously you wait for them to go to sleep, and you crawl out. And then they always hear and wake up, and no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going. But this
I can't be in your room. I saw the cat again.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah. Slam the door. Run.
Slam door. Right.
This one night, so I've gone in their room. They're scared. I've calmed them down. I've got a pillow and I've said I'll sleep on the floor, and you guys just relax. I'm not going nowhere. So I'm laying there and I'm sort of waiting for them to fall asleep so I can sneak out. And I was probably doing an interview or something, because I was, again, thinking about paranormal stuff, and and I think it was just after I'd woke up and see the shadow figures, so that's still on my mind. And again, I find this weird that because I wasn't scared, and I should have been. Even thinking about it now, I'm finding it weird that this didn't scare me. But so I'm laying there on the floor, and you can see the hallway just opposite.
Sure.
And the stairs are right there as well. And I'm laying there and I'm thinking, look, okay, if there's anyone there now, I'm ready. I want to see you. Come on in. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Man to man, let's go. So I'm laying there and I'm sort of just watching it's dark, but I can see the outline of things. This is going to sound mad, but all of a sudden I see the shape of a face. Okay. And I don't know if it's like, if my eyes are playing tricks, but I'm looking at it and I can see it, but it's black, but I can see where the eyes are, where the mouth is, the nose. I can see like the shape of a face, and I'm looking at it and it's not disappearing. And I'm like, okay, I can see like you, and I'm just laying there watching it, and I'm not scared as well. And this is weird. It's what I find quite interesting. And all of a sudden, it's sort of coming towards me, just the face, just the floating head, basically. And I'm watching it, and then I don't know if I was just sort of told myself this is weird, and I was like, no more, and it just disappeared.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know I don't know. It was very strange.
So now, was it similar to my thing where the face was oriented to you, or was it?
No, so I was sort of laying down on the floor, and it was just straight up, just walking down the hallway.
A face without a body walking down the hallway. Wow.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy.
Oh, man.
And I invited it. I was like, I want to see something. Like, let's go. I'm not scared for some reason. And it's got your nerve up. You're ready to rock. It's really strange. And I had that experience, and then I think to myself, I was like, because I think we can all open ourselves up to the paranormal. Sure. I believe we can all, in a way, be psychic. In a way, I know obviously some people are a lot more gifted than others, and experience a lot more. But I think that with time and belief, you can start seeing more stuff. You can open yourself. And I think personally, I was like, as much as I find this amazing and I'm talking about it and I'm living it every day, I don't want to be seeing stuff at night.
Yeah. Not in
And
your
I
own
think,
house.
yeah, and I think I've sort of stopped it myself, if
Good
that
for
makes
you.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I've heard of that happening, JJ and I had a case maybe about a year or two ago now, where this woman kept seeing a young couple in her house prior to where her house used to stand was a military base, and it was the military housing. They converted it to regular housing, and then someone added another house on back. The lots were huge, and so you could do that. But she kept seeing a young couple, young man, young woman, and they would appear to her, and she was like a go-between for whatever reason. It's like, tell him this, tell her this. And it's not like they were mad. They were kind of anxious and pleading and that type of thing. And she says, I just can't handle it anymore. So we get a call. We investigate. Nothing jumps out on the camera. Nothing jumps out on audio. JJ comes in and she sweeps everything. She says, Tim, I want you to take pictures down here. And I do. Nothing shows up on camera. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. Okay, let's sit down and have a chat because I think I know what's going on. And she says, now I'm sensing spirits. I always sense spirits. It's just who I am. I mean, I could sense things miles away, technically speaking, which I didn't know at that point. When I thought, oh, really? I didn't know that. But she says, I think I know what's going on here. And she tells the client, you're a medium. And I didn't see that at all. I was like, me? Are you shit? Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations. Not everyone has that gift. And the lady says, I don't want this gift. And I said, well, you're kind of stuck with it. It's not like you could turn it off, but you can control it. And JJ helps her further, and she was able to control things too. It's like, not now, because she'd get a vibe prior to the ghosts showing up to her, manifesting before her. So she says, not now. And she takes command of the whole situation. She really controls the situation. So you may have done something very similar. I mean, it's our world, not theirs, so to speak. And we have more control over it than you might think. So
that's interesting, man.
So you probably did will it away.
Yeah. Because obviously I do want to see more, but at the same time it scares me, and I think I do close that door.
We're done. I saw all I wanted.
Yeah.
Change the channel.
Yeah. Interesting though, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we are pretty powerful beings, surprisingly.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so I feel you did take control of the situation and disintegrate the head.
That's enough.
Yeah, it's like, we're done. Get a little angry and Jason Statham about it, right?
Yeah.
What I said, we're done. Oh, good times. And was there anything else?
So I used to get really bad sleep paralysis. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't know if we've got time to.
Sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I used to get really bad sleep paralysis. And this is in my old flat. Just before I moved here, I used to get it every week, at least once a week, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was something. Again, it was something that as for as much as I love the paranormal and I look into I didn't know a lot about the sleep paralysis, and I didn't connect it to being paranormal at the time, even though it was. Looking back now, I believe there is paranormal. I believe
Paranormal cause. Okay, so it wasn't you suddenly.
Yeah, so it was. So basically, this would happen at least once a week. I would be obviously trying to go to sleep, and I would start getting this weird vibrating feeling through my body.
Sure.
That at first felt quite nice. I'm not gonna lie, it was a nice feeling. I'm like, this is a nice feeling. But after having it so many times, I knew what was coming. And so I'm trying to sleep, and I get this going through me, vibration, and it's, it gets stronger, and then all of a sudden you're in the sleep paralysis state. You can't move.
Yeah.
You can't speak. You can't shout. It's terrifying. You
it
can't.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there myself.
Yeah. Yes. It's a terrifying feeling.
Yeah.
And I used to get so this would happen in my flat, and I used to get so I couldn't move. I couldn't look around the room, but I used to get the feeling, or I would see in my mind's eye, like what I can only describe as like a black witch in my room, and I'm fighting it, if that makes sense. But in my mind, I'm shouting, leave me alone, like get out, swearing at it,
right?
And eventually it would go, and I'd be able to get up, and I'm back in the room. Ooh. That was weird. And this happens so often, like as I said, once a week at least.
In the old place.
In the old place, in my old flat, yeah. And I used to put it down to, I used to work long hours, and I used to put it down to the stress of the job, not getting enough sleep. That's how, at the time, that's what I told myself. Like, it's weird, it's terrifying, but all right, it's probably just something that's in me, whatever. It was weird, obviously. But it happened a lot. Anyway, moving to the house that I'm in now, I know my lifestyle changed because I was doing less hours. I started doing the podcast and stuff, but it stopped. It wasn't getting it. I've had it 4 times in this house, so I do still get it, but it's obviously not as often as it used to be.
Is it the same thing though? You're reacting to something or some entity or some witch in the room?
This is the weird thing. It's the same thing, the same vibration, the same can't move, can't look around the room, can't speak. It's that, but it's a different entity in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the black witch that I used to feel.
Are we talking same basic vibe though? They're trying to do you harm, and
yeah, it's not a nice feeling. Yeah, it's the same. I'm having a battle with something. I'm telling it to go. Right. I'm swearing at it, and eventually it goes. I had it quite recently, not too long ago, and it didn't last. It doesn't last too long. It feels long at the time when it's happening, but in reality, it's probably a couple of minutes at the most.
Right.
But yeah, I'm battling something, and I don't know really what it is now, but it's not the black witch that it used to be. I know that.
But it is something bad.
It's something not good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's not a nice whatever it is.
No. Well, you were definitely tuned into something. I mean, the black head floating at you, the
yeah. Yeah. I always think to myself, I've not had that many experiences, but I think I think I have.
I think again about that.
Yeah. I've experienced quite a lot.
That'd be interesting. First blush, I mean, if I put my investigator hat on, so to speak, you're definitely in touch with something. It looks like it's a form of. Okay, let me ask you this question before I continue. This entity you're battling, and it's a battle. It's a knockdown, drag out battle, or is it more like a test of wills against one another?
It feels like this, whatever this thing is,
I mean, are you in your head? Are you throwing punches against this
no,
thing?
in my head, I'm just saying F off,
Yeah,
basically.
get on. Okay. So it's a little
Yeah,
more verbal. Okay.
yeah, I'm battling it. I'm like, it sounds crazy,
No, it
but
doesn't. I know exactly what you're talking about.
in recent times when it happens, it's more like, you don't scare me, like
Mm.
yeah, you ain't coming to me, like, base. That's the attitude I've got now, and I'm telling it to, I'm swearing at it, I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah.
nasty things to it. Leave me alone, you know what I mean? And so it is a battle, but it's in the mind's eye, basically, if that makes
Well,
sense.
yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I was gonna hold off on telling you the story, but I'll tell it anyway. And it was relatively recent for me. And I told JJ I was having this series of, I wouldn't call them nightmares per se, but I was basically what I was me as I am, modern Tim, but I was kind of in a Witcher situation. You know the game and the TV show
Yeah,
Witcher?
yeah,
Okay, battling some really horrific thing with similar implements, swords and axes and all that fun stuff, and barely escaping with my life. And I'd always wake up out of breath, sweating my clothes, even on cold winter nights. And I'd have that similar sensation when I upon my first waking. It would be, oh my god, I'm paralyzed, I can't move. And then something within me shifted, and I could finally move. But it's like my body was late in reacting to my waking, and it the body didn't follow the brain for a few seconds.
yeah,
But so I know exactly what you're talking about, and you're still kind of in a dream state upon waking sometimes, and you can almost swear that. One of the really weird things was I have you can't see it behind me, but I fell asleep in this room, and I have this short shirt, work shirt I hang up there, and it's got a logo on it. Well, when I woke up initially during one of these episodes, I got my eyes open, and the logo looks like a maw, like a mouth, a sharp, spiny mouth of some creature. And then it fades away and there's reality, but I could see the outline of what this creature was. So were my eyes open this whole time? I have this question. I'm not one to sleep with my eyes open that I'm aware of.
yeah.
But it was amazing that, it could have been a trick in the mind. I couldn't be certain upon waking, but
That's
it looked
interesting.
like the outline of this creature I was battling on the back of the head.
Yeah, yeah.
So
When I'm having these episodes, I am. So I feel I'm trying to go to sleep and it happens. I don't feel like I've gone to sleep and my eyes are open, so I can still see the room.
right,
If that makes sense.
yeah, I do. Uh, so this is when your eyes are closed, but it's like you have X-ray vision. You can see everything.
Yeah, but I think sometimes I can even open my eyes during what's going on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and see the room
Hmm.
and feel if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does. That. Oh, anyway, sorry. Going back to what I was saying is, so I tell JJ about this series of dreams, and she says, "Yeah, you're battling something, but I think it's more on a spiritual level." And she says, "You want to calm it down? Stick salt under your bed by your head." I don't know if you've heard her give that advice.
Yeah, yeah, she said that to me as well.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, she's been right about so many things, and they've always it's always sounded goofy to me, but I trust her. So I stick some salt in the bag and zip it up and stick it under my bed. And from that moment forward, peace.
Yeah,
Happy dreams. It was
interesting,
amazing.
man.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Mhm. So yeah, I'm very thankful to her for that. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But I still want to, next time we talk, I'll tell you about the dream where I was in a my room turned into a seedy hotel room somewhere downtown.
Yeah, man.
One of these days.
That's awesome. Oh, it's terrifying, but it's all.
It was, oh man, it was horrible. Well, it wasn't horrible, but it was at the same time, because my room was turned into a totally different location. I was not me. I was clearly inhabiting someone else's life. I was just watching it through their eyes.
Yeah.
Because I saw myself in the mirror. It didn't look like me at all. Some rugged looking dude with long hair, and wasn't me. But
wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about that one of these days.
Interesting, man.
Hopefully soon. We'll talk about dreams some more.
Yeah, for sure. I find dreams. There's definitely so much to dreams.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting interpretations going to be had.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's getting a bit late for me. I have to take care of some stuff on my end. So, Tommy, I was called you Thomas.
Let's go. Thomas is when I'm naughty.
All right. Tommy, thank you so much. Yeah, great. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it, man. It was a great talk. You have some fantastic experiences, and I want to thank you very much. So not only for being on my show, but for having me on yours. It was fantastic. I really had.
It's a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Paranormal Insight. My name is Tim Sedano, and tonight we've been talking with Tommy Cullum. And Tommy, I want you to tell them where they can find you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me on the show, man. It's been an absolute honor. You can find me on all the social media outlets: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, at TC Let's Get Freaky podcast. We're on all the podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on all of them pretty much, I think. Let's Get Freaky. We put 2 shows out a week. If you've had any experiences, we'd love to talk to you. And yeah, thank you very much, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure was mine, and I'm sure the audience will have a great time with this episode as well. So don't forget to watch his stuff. He has great guests on, and great topics, and he's a very good interviewer. So let's get freaky.com. Don't forget, or .com.
No, we haven't. No, not yet. No,
not yet. Okay, so let's get freaky on Instagram and pretty much everywhere else.
That's it. Yeah.
And so I'm sorry. Briefly, do you have a YouTube channel or no?
We do. We have got a YouTube channel. It's something I'm going to start doing a lot more of. But basically, every episode is on the podcast platforms. But there is some episodes on YouTube, but it's something I need to do more of. So I'm going to start putting some more on YouTube.
Okay.
So head over to Let's Get Freaky on YouTube, and
exactly.
There will be more coming.
Absolutely. We'll have all that stuff in the description for you folks. So once again, thank you, Tommy, and thank you out there in YouTube land, and pretty much everywhere else. I'm similar to you, Tommy. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the way to do it. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time on Paranormal Insight. Thank you for watching and listening. Please click the subscribe button and activate notifications for future episodes and other content. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram under paranormal.insight.podcast